When they had come near Jerusalem and had reached Bethphage at the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, "Go into the village ahead of you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, just say, 'The Lord needs them.'" The disciples went and did as Jesus had directed them. They brought the donkey and the colt and put their cloaks on them, and he sat on them. A very large crowd spread their cloaks on the road, and others cut branches from the trees and spread them on the road. The crowds that went ahead of him and that followed him were shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest heaven." When he entered Jerusalem, the whole city was in turmoil, asking, "Who is this? Who is this?" This was the first time that Jesus had entered the city of Jerusalem since beginning his ministry. Jerusalem was the regional seat of the Roman government, the site of the Jewish temple and their high priests, and both groups had demonstrated significant hostility to Jesus and his predecessor, John the Baptist. We all come to this story from different life perspectives. There are some who question whether Jesus ever lived, the historical Jesus. I believe he did. There was a very well-respected, authenticated, non-Christian, Roman Jewish historian. You got all that? There will be a quiz. There was a Roman historian, a secular Roman historian, who wrote a history book in 93 AD. And you thought they just arose, kind of maybe in your lifetime? No, they go way back. His name was Flavius Josephus. And he wrote this in one of his books in the chapter Testimonium Flavianum. Say that with me. Testimonium Flavianum. Isn't it fun? It's just fun to say. He writes this. Now there was about this time Jesus, a wise man, if it be lawful to call him a man. For he was a doer of wonderful works, a teacher of such men as receive the truth with pleasure. He drew over to him both many of the Jews and many of the Gentiles. And when Pilate, at the suggestion of the principal men amongst us, had been condemned to the cross, those that loved him at first did not forsake him. When Jesus mounted that donkey, and I say this with no disrespect. This is the first time, I've read this passage so many times, it is the very first time that the words, they put their cloaks on them, and he rode them into the city. I'm not quite sure what that looked like. Him riding, I don't know how he rode both of them. It just made me smile. But he was riding a donkey. He was obviously at ease as he entered the city. How does one, with such ease and grace, ride towards certain destruction? He knew what awaited him. No matter how you interpret what Jesus means, no matter how you interpret his message, his teaching, no matter how you understand or explain or not explain his healing. This man who lived knew that he was riding to his certain death. I believe the only way that he could have done what he did was if, as he rode in, he had released all the fears that beset you and me. The fears of suffering, of pain, possibly torture, the fear of irrelevancy, the fear of death. He had to have released those. He had to have come to the absolute core of the answer to the question that was circulating through Jerusalem at the time. Who is this? He had to have had the answer deeply. Work with me, will you? Sure. Let's imagine that we are not in a Unity Church right now. Imagine that we're in a public place with strangers. Okay? So, I want you to say together, knock, knock.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
No. Lord help me. Let's try this one more time. Go ahead.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
We are.
Yeah, and if you were with a group of strangers in the public place, I bet you would have said, Rick, Connie, Crystal, Jim, Dana. Wouldn't you? Sure. Yeah. We would have answered that. And even if we were here, let's say we were here, I'm going to bring us back to Renaissance Unity. Here, we would have said things like, child of God, Spirit, I am our true spiritual name. Even those answers are not who you are. Those answers are thoughts. They're ideas. They're mental, intellectual constructs. That's not who you are. I mean, I can say, I am a child of God. I can say, I am a child of God. It's still an idea. Right? I mean, I feel it up here. It's not who we are. There was a great yogic teacher, Ramana Maharishi. And he was a fairly contemporary teacher, and he would often say that in order to attain true inner freedom, who here wants inner freedom? I won't ask who doesn't. Just see me after service. We'll set up an appointment. To have true inner freedom, we must continually and sincerely ask the question, who am I? Continually and sincerely ask the question, who am I? You see, I know that Jesus asked this question of himself his entire life. He was asking, who am I, when at the age of 12, he left the caravan back to Nazareth, returned to Jerusalem in order to hang out with the priests and talk. That's what he was doing. He was asking, who am I? 12 years old, coming into his manhood, trying to figure out his identity. He was asking, who am I, when he went out into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights to test his beliefs, to test his faith. All that was a journey into asking, who am I? And he was asking it still again in the Garden of Gethsemane shortly before he died, before he was crucified on that cross that Josephus wrote of in his history book. He asked, Can this cup be taken from me? Can this experience be taken from me? Just another way of asking, who am I in the world? I know that you and I ask this question of ourselves all the time as well. I have no doubt. Even if we don't do it consciously, I mean, I know we do it consciously, but we do it subconsciously. We are continually asking ourselves, who am I as a mother, as a father? Who am I as a spouse, as a partner? Who am I as a friend? Who am I at work, at home, in my spiritual community? Who am I? And it can be really easy in arriving at our answer to stop with what we are thinking. Because we do have thoughts about that. We do answer ourselves. I know we do. The French philosopher René Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." When I was a teenager, I loved that statement. I thought it was so wise. It was so cool. It was so French. And I thought all things French and European were just cool. And you know what else I thought? I thought it was right. I did. I thought it was, of course it's right. If I'm thinking, I am. If I'm thinking, I can hear myself thinking, and if I can hear myself thinking, that proves that I exist. Right? Right? If you have a voice in your head, I want you to raise your hand. One? I heard one. If you have two, you can. I'm a Gemini, so I have clearly two. I've got two voices at least in here. Does your voice ever stop? No. Okay. We have some no's and we have some yeses. And do you always like what it has to say? No. Do you like what it has to say? Sometimes. Yes. Okay. What I'm inviting you to do this Easter week is to pay attention, step way back, and pay attention to the voice. Think of it as a capital V voice, the voice, not the TV show. I mean, you can watch it if you want, but pay attention to your voice. Simply watch it. Watch it. Think of your voice as an inner roommate. A roommate with a personality all of its own. One of the best times to observe the voice is when you're in the shower. Or if you're a bad person, you know, in the tub. And just watch it and see if the voice allows you to have a relaxing cleanse. Or if in the tub, in the shower, the voice just goes raging on, ranting on, speaking on. What do I have to do? Oh yeah, I'm going to do that and that, and how could she? How could he? Why did she say that? Why did he say that? Or, what a beautiful day it is outside. I'm going to go for a walk. I might go for a little jog. I'm going to cook a great meal. I might even go to a movie. The Hunger Games got a terrific review. I mean, it says things we don't like, and it says things that we do like.